Noel Vinyl features within the very first chapter. He is presented as a long-term friend of Mr. Corby.
One of Mick's closest friends growing up was Noel Vinyl, who lived barely 100 metres from Mick's house. Noel had fond memories of a young Mick Corby.
Duff uses all his usual tricks, placing Mr. Corby in the context of drugs from the outset. In this case, he presents a picture of marijuana smoking and the growing of dope plants in Mr. Vinyl's garage. As with so many of the others, however, the core character totally refutes the suggestion. When asked about this, he states categorically, "That's bullshit." But, for the purposes of the rest of the book, the scene is set. The old debunking fabrications of Malcolm Macaulay was supplemented by equally false allegations regarding the involvement of Adelaide man David McHugh. However, as a living person, Mr. McHugh himself came forward in February 2012. His comments with respect to both Duff and his output could hardly have been clearer.
Oh, it's just that Eamon. He's just. I've read the book. I've read it twice actually, and it's just a load of bullshit. It's just bullshit. Well, I've only just finished reading it. And Malcolm Macaulay, he's never ever met Mick. Never. No, Malcolm Macaulay has never met Mick Corby. Well, the whole thing is, he's got in the book. I read that Mick Corby and Mal had connections. They didn't have connections. And I told him that. A month or two ago. I said, this is all just bullshit. And he just swept it under the table. He just didn't care. All he's interested in, the book's out now. You know, I think he's expecting to make millions out of it. Like when I said that, he sort of went red and, you know, his face was drawn and that it's just bullshit. And he just didn't want to know that. He was over here when he was writing the book. He was over here every weekend trying to get sweet with me and Mal and, you know. Well, most of the questions he asked me, he had an answer for them. So he'd ask me a question and he had the answer. Well, the whole thing is we were promised heaps. We were promised, you know, this and that. It's just that he had me conned, you know, we were going to get this and we were going to get that, and he was going to, this is before I read the book, we were going to get a percentage of the book, you know, and he was going to look after us, we'll be looked after. Then he's railroaded us into this current affairs thing where we signed a contract, but I'm not even worried about it. They're just waiting for something to happen for Chappelle to come up on the TV again. Suddenly they're going to come and rush and get me and Mal and do some interview. And I've just said no, I was never ever built one. And as I say, Eamon, when he used to come over, he always used to say to me, how can we get Roz? He was mainly after Roz. I don't know why, but that's all he used to say. If we can get Roz, if we can get Roz. And, when you see Mr. Smoothie, all I've done is just got pulled over and they've gone through me luggage. He's made it look as though I'm a big bloody criminal. It's just a load of bullshit, and I couldn't work out why, but now I've read it twice. I know. Well, he always went along with Eamon. He said, "No, let's just see what happens, and probably the last, I'd say 4 to 6 weeks, he's changed his mind too. He's starting to think he's just a load of bull." that we've been conned. It's just a lie. I'm surprised that Roz and Faddies hasn't taken him to court. He's always been frightened of that. He's told me that. He's always been frightened that they'd take him to court and sue him. He's running around, he's on the radio stations, he's on all these TV talkback. He's just full of shit. They call him in the Herald Sun, or what is he, the Herald Sun or Sun Herald it's called in Sydney. They call him an investigative reporter or something. I think he doesn't really report them. I think he just makes them up. Well, the whole thing is, I think it needs to be put out that it's just a load of bull. He's just making money out of this where it should be stopped, and this bastard's going to get away with it. I hope he doesn't.
In April 2013, David McHugh issued a number of ultimatums to some of those involved in manufacturing the fabrications. On the 24th of April 2013, he recorded 2 additional, extremely revealing interviews with the Expendable Project. He was distraught.
All I want to do is be left alone. That's all I want to do, is be left alone. I just want to be left alone. That's all I want to be, left alone.
You look at what's happened to David Trevor McHugh. Same thing, you know, people hounding him, and the guy is innocent of everything that he's been accused of.
He also rang Fremantle Media to confront them on their plans to produce a telemovie based upon the fabrications.
I've given Mal an ultimatum. I said I better hear from someone within 2 weeks. That was, when did he ring me? Sunday. I said someone's got 2 weeks to ring me from today, and then after that I start getting on. I get the New South Wales telephone book, and I said I've got here. Start ringing talkback shows and saying the book is a load of bullshit, and I can prove it. And I tried to ask him now, are they using our name? He didn't know that. And I said, well, hang on, who's doing me? He said, well, he didn't really answer it, but I'm not going on some movie and my name's going to be... There's nothing said about money. I want someone to ask my permission. They're not going to get it. Like I said, 2 weeks, last Monday, I start getting on the talkback shows on the radio, and I'll start in Sydney. Now, what I might do, I might ring them this afternoon. I might give them a ring, and I'm going to say, well, look, I'll give you a week to answer back to me. Otherwise, I'm getting on every talkback show, and I'm starting in New South Wales, where Duff is, to say it's bullshit, and it's just a story.
The following day, he was violently assaulted and died when he got home. Before he collapsed, he attempted to call the Expendable Project. Despite repeated calls, South Australia Police have failed to undertake a full investigation into the wider circumstances of his death.